Let's just roll out our panelists here. My name is Jonathan Zwickel. I'm the senior editor of City Arts Magazine, and we're going to be talking with three Seattle-based singer-songwriters. We have Shaprece Renee of Shaprece, Tomo Nakayama of Tomo Nakayama, and formerly Grand Hallway, and Matt Bishop of Hey Marseilles. So we have a lot to talk about with these three, and only a little bit of time, so we're going to just dive right into questions. And the first thing I want to ask, and maybe we can just go down the line here, is where do ideas usually occur? Where and when? Is there a time and place where you're most often struck by inspiration?
Usually for me it's like when I'm doing something other than trying to write a song, you know? I'll be like walking my dog or sweeping the floor or doing something physical that seems to trigger whatever part of the brain it is that comes up with a melody or something. So yeah, I just have to always kind of keep that in mind, you know, and then I'll sing it into my phone or whatever and try to make something of it. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I relate to that too. I try to keep a lot of structure outside of music in my life just so I have something to do that affords me the space to kind of let my mind wander. And usually in the morning or after I've had some coffee, or I take walks during twilight specifically because that's when I get really emotional and thoughtful. So that's...
Seriously?
Seriously, yeah.
Wow.
Only during the summer months. It doesn't really work when it's rainy 9 months of the year, but yeah.
Shaprece?
I tend to get lots of ideas while I'm driving, which can be very inconvenient. So I try and use my phone and sing the melodies or whatever. And I also am hugely inspired by nature because I feel like those are the closest elements to the human emotions. So I use those to my advantage. Lots of hikes and stuff may or may not have some herbal refreshments involved. I'm from Seattle. What do you have for me?
So all three of you, more often than not, you're not sitting down and trying to come up with a melody or directly engage with the song. It's something that's more of a sort of side door kind of process.
Yeah, that's never worked for me, like sitting in front of a table and like saying, I'm gonna write a song, you know, that's like the first step to a block, really.
I do that, but not for the initial idea of something. If I feel like I have to wait for something to inspire me, and then once I've got that little tiny inspirational nugget, I'll sit down and try to structure it out into a song. But yeah, that first moment definitely has to be something where I'm letting it come to me, providing everything necessary around me to allow that to happen. But yeah.
A little bit of both, actually. For me, a lot of my lyrical content comes from poetry that I've written before the song has ever been into existence. So I keep a journal with me and I write down every idea. And again, especially in nature, I'll just see things that remind me of a feeling that I've had. And so I have these ideas kind of stacked on the back end, and then when we start creating, Brandon, Philip, and I, then I can kind of refer back to that poetry, and it reminds me of that one, so I can kind of start from there. Kind of do a lot of pre-writing, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's something I wonder about, is lyrics first or melody?
Melody.
Lyrics for me, for sure.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the song, you know? Like sometimes it starts with a rhythm or like a riff or if like a certain melody fits with a line that pops up in your head or something, but it needs to be something that just hooks itself in your brain, you know? And like I think you can usually tell when there's like a good idea that, it may not develop into a full song, but if it sticks in your head after a few days, then it's worth chasing. So.
And you guys have mentioned singing into your phones. Has that become kind of a critical part of the process, having a recording device on you at all times?
Yeah, I used to have, is when I first started playing guitar and when I was in junior high, they didn't have smartphones yet. Not to date myself, but just tiny recorders, and that was always how I would capture ideas and then go back and listen to them. Yeah.
The weird thing for me is I never go back and listen to what I record,
too,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, me too.
I think it's just the act of singing into something, and then, I mean, I'll immediately listen back to it just to hear what I just sang or whatever, you know? But like I was saying, if it's a good idea, then it'll just be there in your head, you know what I mean? But I think the actual physical act of like pressing that button and then singing into the phone, that just makes it official, like, okay, this is an idea that I would like to save. So, yeah.
Yeah, I rarely actually go back to whatever I've recorded, melodically at least. And also, I'm just like really analog about the way the lyrics happen. So I hate reading lyrics off of my phone. It just doesn't feel as personal to me. I really like the the ritual aspect of writing out the lyrics and seeing it and then kind of creating the melody on the spot. But I do, every once in a while, I will get a melody in my mind that I'm like, I have to record that. And then 3 days later, I forget that I did. Anyway, so I just like to do everything like right on the spot, lyrics right there in the booth, you know, singing what I intend to sing right there. And it can be a good thing and a bad thing because I become married to my ideas. And then it's hard for me to kind of expand beyond that. It's like once I get an idea, it's like that is the idea. And so sometimes it can be hard to grow beyond that because I become so attached to it. So it's kind of a slippery slope, but usually my first idea is kind of what I love and end up going with that.